Hmm. There we go. Come on, YouTube. I know you want to do it. Are we live? Yes, we are live. Heck yeah. Let me see if Mel will show me chat as well. Okay. Now, if anybody's watching this replay, what I am essentially doing is just trying to be active on the channel. I want to make sure this is also doing dual stream. It should be doing dual stream. It is. So it should be cropping me out and doing a vertical stream as well. I have been a content creator for such a long time, and yet live streaming is one of the things where I just do not have as much experience with. And so I wanted to try to get another chance at doing this. I was doing it a lot on Substack until I left there, and honestly having so many issues with Substack. So today I was going to talk about computers and tech and just being a content creator. So I figured I'll talk about computers when I don't have anything else to talk about and just talk about how I want to use them, particularly as a creator or the content I want to make around it. I also want to talk about how I planned basically the entire year of 2026 ahead of time, which is crazy. I'm looking at the calendar right now, and I have not had that level of success with planning since I was in Notion. And that is something that is like a really big deal to me. Let me move this down a little bit so you can see like I'm in the proper position. Oh, I'm gonna cut off my legs here. So the idea behind the planning was that I needed a calendar, and with Notion I had the calendar view, but in Obsidian you had to rely on the project management plugins, and that really just did not work out very well. Now I wish it would tell me how many viewers. Maybe I need to go on the actual page, but I'll leave it here. If anybody's watching, it should tell me concurrent viewers, so hopefully that'll work. If you are watching, please throw something in the chat, say hi. I really like the engagement and like talking back and forth. It really helps me get more comfortable. But the idea of just the streaming and setting up the planning, I needed a calendar view, and none of the calendar plugins in Obsidian were ever working. Like they literally were broken. And then when there was a few that were actually kind of decent, and or they would work, they weren't that decent. I mean, so there's a new calendar beta plugin for Bases. Bases is a new core plugin. I know that's a lot of words there. So basically, you have the core plugins and community plugins. The core plugins are the ones that come with Obsidian, and you can choose those to turn on and off. The Bases plugin are just like a database, and you could have a card view, which card views are pretty useful when you're making like a book or movie database, which I'm also doing, which is pretty cool. So I downloaded all the books that I want to read, like actually the books themselves. I'm going to convert them to Markdown so I can have them in my Obsidian vault. And I mean, you could have them in EPUBs too, but I'd rather have Markdown so it's faster and take up less space. Then I'm also just collecting a whole bunch of movies that I want to watch or have watched, and just have them all in the database so I can keep track of Bollywood movies, for example, I want to watch. And having all that data management, something I normally would talk about on the PolyInnovator channel, but I think that's very powerful when it comes to being a content creator. I had an interview today, and I was talking to someone on Threads. Like both of those conversations, they weren't really planning out the content as much, and I was like, we need to do more when it comes to planning ahead. And I mean, I could just switch over real quick to my shared screen and see how that looks. So essentially, this is the first month right here. And like, I can go through the entire year. I don't want to show off everything I'm planning ahead of time, but this idea of like having this different niches and topics that I do every week is super powerful to me. And being able to plan out, okay, I have the Polymath newsletter, I have the content creator newsletter, I have the swimming newsletter, the gaming newsletter, I have a travel series tag that I want to talk about a little bit more. And like the travel and swimming and even the gaming one, I really don't need to do more than once a month. I just want to keep it going, keep it alive. So keeping those niches alive when I'm not actually particularly focused on them, I think is very powerful. Being able to keep your previous endeavors going while still pursuing your main endeavors, I think is very powerful. And a lot of people just don't always think about that. They just kind of move on to the next thing, when in reality, you don't have to go 180 degrees or like completely move away from your old stuff. So while I'm thinking about the next topic about the calendar, I'm going to go ahead and pull out some tech here. So I have like, oh, you know what? I'm going to make some videos about this. Herc is a mini PC brand. HERK. And the mini PC I bought last year, actually, you may even be able to hear it going because the fan is going pretty loud. But it is I got a I don't remember the exact model number, but it was an 8-core Ryzen, like 7th generation, basically laptop component, but that's what these mini PCs usually use. And I had a 780M GPU. I had a 64 gigs of RAM. I had like 2 or 3 terabytes of storage. I added another terabyte in there, so it'd be 3. So came out with 2 though. And like the difference between my old built desktop that was pretty chunky versus this little mini PC that was the size of 2 Lunchables stacked on top of each other, it was pretty immense. The fact that like it was basically both octa-cores, Gen 1 versus Gen 7 or 8 or whatever it was, I think it was. And then the GPU was actually an RX 480, which was ironically kind of comparable to the iGPU, the integrated graphics of the 780M. And I don't want to get too technical on the channel, but I am going to be making computer videos, so maybe I should. But essentially, these different computers, despite the fact that was an internal graphics card versus a discrete graphics card, they were pretty equal when it came to performance, mainly due to the sheer newness of the drivers for the newer system, and the fact that it shared RAM with the CPU was actually a good thing. I managed to get 64 gigs of RAM instead of just 32, and since they share, it's actually pretty good, and it was also significantly faster. I don't remember exact speed. I think it was like either 5800 megahertz or 7000 megahertz. It was really fast. It was really high up there. It was like DDR5. No, that's not right. DDR4. No, it was DDR5 because my old PC was DDR4. It was DDR5, and so it was a lot newer, and it was crazy because the old PC was pretty nice, DDR4 RAM, but it was kind of slow. It was like 2666, I think, megahertz. So I literally like doubled the speed. I think it was 5800 or something like that, because it was like double the actual speed of RAM and double the capacity from 32 to 64 gigs. And then on top of that, which helps a lot when you're doing things like right now I have Obsidian open, I have Melt Studio open, I have multiple tabs open on the web browser, and I'm live streaming. So having the RAM to handle all that, that's probably why this is getting kind of hot, because this only has 16 gigs that I'm using now. But I'll get to that in a second. The old computer I had was kind of aging out of like usefulness, and I wanted to get a newer one that took up less space, and one that I couldn't put the old one on my old desk. It was too heavy. It weighed down my desk, and this is a standing desk, and I wanted to use it in standing mode. Perhaps right now I should be in standing mode. My point is, it was a great upgrade. However, the USB ports kept messing up. One of the USB A's actually just constantly disconnected. And so when I had my microphone connected to it, it caused a lot of problems with recording. These are things that a lot of creators don't think about. And the hardware can make a hindrance to you. My first microphone I cheaped out on, I got a 5-fine mic, and it would clip and the gain too much. You couldn't have the gain set to anything without it just completely clipping out and being too loud. And so whenever I would talk, it would just clip, and it would just like cut out the audio. So eventually I got like a Blue Yeti, and that was fine. My camera was decent. I actually spent like $150 on the camera, which was a lot for me at the time. And that was a good purchase. It was 1080p, 30 FPS. It was a good starter camera, but I probably could have cheaped out on that a little bit and just focused on getting a better mic. And then the other thing I was going to say is that it had a really bad fan curve, and there was no way for me to change it in the BIOS or even with a third-party software in Windows. So there was just something wrong with it hardware-wise, where it would just get super loud and basically go full throttle when doing nothing. I would turn on the computer and it would go full throttle. I would have a few tabs open in Opera, and it would just go full throttle. It was crazy. And when I complained to them about it, they sent me a new fan. I installed it, still had the same problem. It was a software, not a hardware issue. And they just never really helped me at all, even though I kept reaching out to them. But before I had sent it back to them for repair or replacement, which I'm not getting it back, mind you, that's a whole nother issue, by the way. They've sent me back one response since then. They're like, oh, we have to go to Hong Kong to get it, and they're like in Shenzhen or something like that, meaning they hadn't even gotten it 2 weeks. They sent me the email 2 weeks after I shipped it, and then on top of that, I don't even know if they've ever got it, let alone told me anything since then. But I had gotten it around, I think, April of 2024. No, yeah, April 2024-ish, basically pre-summer, and I had it most of the year. And then the issue happened where around January, I reached out to them. I'm like, hey, like, I'm liking the product. I have some issues with it, but like, you know, if you want me to make some more content around it, or if you want me to make content for your channel, because they had nothing on their channel, basically just a couple engineers making videos about it. Cool. Let's make actual content about it. ETA Prime finally did a video about it eventually. But they just kind of blew me off, and then, okay, cool, not a big deal. I just thought I offer. At the very least, I thought I helped them make a video on their channel, maybe do an interview, we can talk about it, soundboard, the stuff about the computer, and just by doing a conversation like I'm kind of having now with the live stream, you can make a lot of clips out of it, you can do a lot of, get more attention to it, and more showing your intention to the people watching. So I just thought that would be powerful for the people to do. However, they kind of just like, no, we don't want to do that. We're all engineers, and so we don't want to do that. Fair enough. Around late January, I get like an email saying, hey, we shipped you a box. Let us know when you get it. And I'm like, what? What's in the box? What do you want me to do with it? And then they just never said anything back. A week later, I get the box, and it's a mini PC. It's a Ryzen Radeon. I don't remember exactly the specs. I don't have it around here. Actually, hold on. The Herc Orion, not Orion, the Orion was what I had before. The Herc Pulsar is the unit. Ryzen 7, 8 cores, Radeon RX. I mean, it's like it's basically the Vega graphics. And yeah, it was a lot weaker than what I had before. But 16 gigs of RAM, 500 gig hard drive, SSD, pretty nice. It still was like useful, but I thought they sent it to me by mistake. They had no communication at all. And then when I reached out back to them, I'm like, hey, and they also sent me a graphics card, a Booster 01 eGPU. So it was an external graphics card and a mini PC. Mind you, the only mini PC that could use the graphics card was the one I bought from them on Indiegogo. The mini PC they sent me had Ubuntu on it and essentially just needed to have a video done about like gaming on Ubuntu, which I would have been happy to do, but they didn't tell me about that until way later. So I reached out to them. 2 weeks go by. I finally get a response. Just make some videos about it. Like, you can test the gaming or something. Like, that's all they said. And at this point, I've not ever really been sent products before. I had done software videos, but testing hardware is a lot harder and a lot different. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? This was actually going to be a video in of itself, and maybe I could just chop this up into one. But it was crazy to me that I had no idea what they wanted from me, and I kept reaching out to them, and it would take 1 to 3 weeks to hear a response back. That is just like insane to me. And so maybe I should share the stream. I just realized that maybe I should like share the fact that I am live streaming. But I found that oh, I can hear my own voice. Hold on, throwing me off. That like I was like, okay, I can do something with it. But the problem was, in order to capture any footage that would come off of the mini PC, I would have to use a capture card. Well, they're USB-C capture card, and all my USB-As were full. I had the microphone, the mouse, and keyboard, and then I had maybe one other USB port that was available. I also had lights and stuff like that. They all needed to be in the PC. Maybe I could have plugged the lights into like an actual power brick, but for the most part, all the USB ports were taken. And I had a hard time trying to figure out, like, what do I use? So I have a USB-C capture card and a USB-C camera. Anytime I plugged in 2 USB-C stuff into the mini PC, it would just, like, crash the USB-C ports. And both of them would stop working. Not only would they stop working, they would, like, reset the drivers, essentially. And it would go down to, like, this USB-C 4 port would go down to USB 2.0 speeds. And it was just permanent. I had to like reset the drivers completely. At one point, I think I just even reset Windows at one point just to fix it. And it's kind of crazy to me. And so that means like even my camera stopped working. If I unplugged it, plugged it back in, restarted the computer, whatever, none of that would actually work. And that is a huge deal. And even when I used a easier camera, 1080p versus this 4K one, it was still one of those things where it stopped working completely. And I'm just like, guys, I can't even use this computer to do the thing that you want me to do. And then, let alone the eGPU, which used the USB-C 4 port. Again, I have to have my camera in there, and I unplugged the camera to plug in the eGPU, but then you have a driver issue. And the drivers became a problem, where having an AMD integrated graphics and AMD external graphics compete each other. And AMD is really bad about, they haven't actually made any fix for this still to this day, where you had to basically uninstall, like very painstakingly using DDU to uninstall the drivers and then put them onto the new drivers. And you had to do that every single time you unplugged or replugged the eGPU. Now, just a little tangent here. I have the Lenovo Legion Go, which happens to be, and this is intentional, basically the same specs as that mini PC that I shipped off. And I thought about using this to actually make a video about the eGPU, because I still want to make the videos. Even if they aren't going to work with me anymore, I still want to make the videos for my own sake. And the problem was, though, I couldn't make any videos with that PC. So I shipped it off. I had fan curve issues and heating issues, and then the USB-C ports just made it like completely hell. And so I shipped it back. Never got a response back. And now at this point, I'm like, well, I need a new computer. I actually went back to my old desktop, and then I just recently sold that or traded it for a PlayStation 5 and MetaQuest 2, bartering system for the win, folks. And so I'm using the mini PC they sent me. They're like, just keep it, I guess, at this point. They were kind of salty that I didn't make any videos about it, but I literally told them I just physically couldn't. And even my old PC didn't have enough of the right ports to actually do the same products either. And I couldn't use the eGPU with it either. So I'm looking at the eGPU, I'm looking at the Lenovo, I have this mini PC. These are all different products that I want to make videos about on this channel. Not only is this a creator channel, but it is sort of a tech channel. And I'll try to make these videos in a content creator lens. Like the fact that I want to use the Lenovo Legion Go as a live streaming PC is really cool. Right now I'm just streaming to YouTube because multi-streaming is pretty complicated, even in Meld. And my PC couldn't handle multi-streams anyways. But using Streamlabs, it probably could because it can syndicate it for you in the cloud. So I'll start messing around with that more and more this year, especially with the gaming, because I want to do it more with gaming. I'm going to use this mini PC as my streaming PC, then use the Lenovo Legion Go as the gaming PC. I think that's going to be a cool combination because then it's not going to take very much space. They're both mini PCs essentially on this desk. If I say PC one more time. So I know that no one's here and no one's chatting, but I'll keep going because this makes clips and it's also good for people to watch the process. I'm getting more experience, and in order to do good live streams, you have to act like someone's here watching anyways. Maybe someone came and said hi, or no one chatted, but maybe someone came and looked and then left. So my whole point was that even this mini PC, the fan is really loud. And guess what? The USB-C ports also have the same issue. If I plug in two different USB-C things, they like to mess up. That's lovely. So that's either an issue with AMD or Herc, but more than likely, it's probably this brand. I think that I would have seen something about the Minis forums doing that, for example, or even, what's the other brand? GMK Tech, or B-Link? Yeah. So these are mini PCs. I think more people would have complained about it if it was a AMD issue across the board. But regardless, hopefully maybe in these newer generations with the like AI CPUs, the Ryzen AI ones, they will have a more powerful USB chip in them. And so that will presumably make it easier for me to connect multiple devices without it like overthinking and overloading. But I have some really cool ideas that's going to be more on the PolyInnovator channel, where it's going to be a bit more about, here is a main computer that I use, maybe Linux even, and then here is a gaming computer I use, and then here is a server that I make that's hosting my personal cloud, and then here's another computer, which I'm going to show you here in a moment, that's hosting my Home Assistant OS, which is this little microcomputer, Intel Compute Stick, and then I'm going to combine it with this open source voice activated, basically it's a Nest speaker but open source, and using my own AI that's locally hosted on that mini PC. That's crazy. And I'm basically giving out this idea for free because it's complicated. And so if someone beats me to it, I can at least copy what they do then. But it's going to be kind of cool because then I can tell it like, hey, Jarvis, start recording. That's cool. That's super cool to me. And just have all these different things going on. And having multiple computers allows you to do it without having interfering processes. So there's a lot of cool things I can do. And I really am excited when it comes to how to make content with these different computers and stuff like that. So enough about the computers. Let's talk about tech. I haven't made a tech setup video, like what am I using as of late. So why don't I go over what I'm using. So I have the Elgato Neo mic, which I actually traded my Stream Deck for. And so you'll notice I got a lot of these on sale. I'm using the TKL Logitech board. This is normally $200. I bought it for $40. Again, on sale. I got this mouse. I think it's the super light, the first one. I got it for $60, which is again half the cost. I have a portable monitor right there, KYY. Got it for $50. I'm looking at the Litra bar from Logitech. I got it for $30 instead of $90. I got the Litra Square light. That's normally $50. I got it for $15. The only thing I paid nearly full price for is the Elgato Facecam Pro, and I got 20% off of that because I just randomly found a coupon for it. I got a LG ultra-wide monitor I've had for ages. I'm going to upgrade it at some point to a 1440p 34-inch monitor. And this is just a 29-inch, and I got it, I think, nearly full price, but ages ago. Other than that, I think that's all the tech. I mean, there's a lot of stuff behind me, too, and I need to organize all my tech. One thing I'm really excited about is I want to travel more. And again, this is something I'll talk more about on the PolyInnovator channel, because I'm going to talk about travel content as a niche on that channel now, more going forward. And I like the idea of downsizing. Not only downsizing my clothes and belongings and like special stuff that's important to me, but also downsizing my tech. That's why I got this mic. This mic, first off, I should be able to be holding it like this for better quality, but it is minimal. Look at that. Look how much space it takes up, or how much space it doesn't take up compared to like the Yeti X that I had before. And the mic arm kept falling down over and over again too. Thanks, Fee-Fine, whatever you want to call it. And so I just think that there's a lot of people who could benefit from having a minimalist approach to their tech. I could take all this tech and put it into a little box and put it in my backpack and take it with me. And I think that if I start traveling more, or maybe going to different conferences, I can have a really nice setup that I just take portably. As I know that Junaid Ahmed has Go Box Studio. He works with them to talk about this like suitcase that has, you know, cameras and lights and microphones and a MacBook and Stream Deck all built into the suitcase, like a Pelican case. That's really cool, but it's like $11,000. And it's like, what if I can just make that using a smaller case and have take up less space? I mean, even my portable monitor can fold up and put it in the backpack. And then I have that little mini PC I mentioned earlier, the Lenovo Legion Go. First one, not even the newest one. And that is a full-fledged octa-core mini PC. It works fine. So there's all these different options when it comes to creating content on the go. So beyond that, I think there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to making content on the go. Let me see how this looks on mobile. Can I see it on Shorts? I want to see it on Shorts.
I get this a lot commented on my video.
Layla Hormozy, stop it. Why can't I watch it on Shorts? I have it split to doing dual stream. Automatically generated vertical crop version for short speed. So why can't I see that too? Well, that sucks. Oh, someone's in. Whoever's in here watching, if it's not me, hello. It probably is me. It's probably counting me. But I wanted to watch and see if I could see if there's a short stream. Now, there's a lot of really great content I'm coming out with this year, and I want to talk about what I did with my calendar. If you're watching this live stream, then you're getting a sneak peek, because I'm going to make a whole video about it at some point that's a little bit more in detail. But essentially, I have multiple newsletters, multiple channels, and I've always wanted to be consistent with all of them. However, how do you do that? Well, in reality, you have to just keep trying to put out more content. And at one point, I came out with the Omni content strategy. It was great, but it wasn't really niche focused. I took that same strategy, applied it to this channel, and did it on the Substack. That was great, but the tool itself was kind of sucky, so I took it off. But that kind of prevented me from making the podcast version of it. And also on top of that too, I had to like basically remake all the blog posts too on the new website, or my main website. So a lot of the posts that you see on there, on some of these days I have different, let me just share the screen again. A lot of these days I have doubled up, right? And so, for example, this post is done, because these are just copied from the old site. However, something like this, or even, actually, yeah, this one, whenever I remade it, this one's done, but then like some of these are like new. So this one, for example, I remade, I added more detail to it. So a lot of these are just reposts from the old site. Like the creator equation, I didn't change at all, but I am changing the final version, the one that's combined all together. And then like something like this is actually new. So I have a lot of new posts also coming alongside the reposts and the remakes of the Substack stuff. So this month is actually just pretty crowded because of that. But once a week, I have a tools post going out, and most of those are already done all the way up until July. That's crazy. I already have one a week scheduled till July. And then what I decided to do was continue with a post on Tuesday for the rest of the year. Ideally, anything that was related to tools, trying to keep that same theme. I'm only going to do it this year, I think. But the whole content newsletter, content channel that you're watching on right now, that started from a PolyTools background, like having the Polymath toolkit. I wanted to kind of keep that going at least for a little bit longer. Plus, I had all these tools posts I wanted to make. And so even though they're not all tools, I think some of them are just purely content creator stuff. It is part of the same brand. Cool, no big deal. But I have all these different videos and content I want to make about how to be a content creator. And so I'm making a separate stream, at least for this year, on Thursday. And so every Thursday for the whole year is going to have a video and blog post for the newsletter that is going out. And that is essentially the content stream of it. So they're both on the same newsletter. One's tools-based, one's creator strategy-based. And that means 2 days a week I have something going out all year. And not only am I on Thursdays is it going out on the newsletter, it's also going out on the YouTube channel, which means the entire year is already planned ahead for the creator channel for once a week. So no matter what, this channel gets once a week a video. And then on top of that, I'll try to do at least one creator interview a week if I can. I mean, right now I'm kind of struggling to get one out, but I already have 2 recorded now, including today's. And so I have one for next week already planned. The Brand Doctor show is also going to be on here, but that's so kind of infrequent and not necessarily on a schedule that it's going to be like 2 to 4 times a month, essentially. But again, extra content, great. And it's actually super helpful because me and him are both experts in content, and we get to kind of have that expert conversation back and forth, and people get to watch that. And then on top of that, I get to do videos about tech, like I told you earlier, where I get to talk about all this cool tech that I have and either review it or talk about how to use it as a content creator. And so I have a lot of plans when it comes to making more review videos and overview videos of different tech products. Hopefully being able to get sent more tech products like the Even Realities G2 that I'm trying to get. Whoever smart glasses people watching, let me know. And or the Mira ones or Roku ones, etc. And then that's all for the creator channel. And there's probably going to be more down the line if I think of like when there's a live streaming update or a YouTube update, I'll make a new news related post that's pretty like potent. And then my main channel, the PolyInnovator channel, once a week is going to get a video ideally. Once a month it gets the now page update. Cool. But I would like to do maybe something along the lines of a travel video a month, a Polymath video a month, and then 2 videos for knowledge management. I haven't planned those out just yet, but presumably I'm going to probably make the posts that I have already scheduled for blog posts into videos as well, making that same strategy as I do with the creator posts. However, I haven't really planned that out far yet. I think the only thing I haven't really planned is that PolyInnovator channel. I have some videos in there already planned out, but those are more specific videos that I had intended to make a while back anyways. So I'm probably going to add more content to this yearly plan, but right now I'm focusing on filling in the last few days. There's like a handful of days during like, I think September and October that I haven't fully filled out the weekends, for example. I do have a schedule for all of this. So Tuesdays are the PolyTools posts, Wednesdays, at least once a month, are the swimming posts, and then also travel posts. Thursdays are the content creator days. Fridays are the gaming days, and then Fridays are the Polymath wiki newsletter, and then Saturdays are the gaming newsletter. But since the gaming one is going to be just kind of once a month for now, normally it would be every Saturday, but I'm taking a break on the gaming channel a little bit. Ideally, I would also like to make a video once a week on the gaming channel, but that one I'm going to have to put off to the side until I get everything else done. Speaking of which, I'm doing a content blitz again. I'm basically putting it all on the table because no one's watching this anyways, and probably no one's going to watch the replay, but I'll probably make these into clips so people watching the clips will get some sort of heads up. Speaking of which, if you're watching this on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube Shorts, let me know. That's super cool. So there's so much content I'm already planning. Like 1 travel post a month, 1 swimming post a month, 1 now page updates a month, right? And then ideally 1 gaming post a month. And then you have 2 content creator posts a week, one of which turns into a video a week, 1 creator interview a week, ideally, 2 to 4 brand doctors a month. Eventually, at some point, once I get a lot of this done, I'll feel free to actually make a Polycast again, the new seasons of that, and I have a lot planned for that. Maybe I'll also batch record some ahead of time, too. And then on top of that, for January and February, I have a lot of the posts that I moved from Substack over. And then that's filling up all the weeks. That actually filled up a decent amount because that's already like 2 a week. It's 104 posts just from the content newsletter alone. And then if you count the Polymathy one, that makes it 156. And then you have the swimming post once a month. That's 168. I think I have about 10 travel posts for the year. I don't think I started maybe I have 12. So not 10 to 12. So it's like, let's say 170 right there. And then you have 1 a month for gaming, 182. 1 a month for, no, that's it. That's only once a month. Now page updates, another 12. So that already filled up more than half the year at that point, or basically half the year. And then I have a crap ton of blog posts that I've been waiting pardon me, I've been waiting to get out for so long. And so I had like multiple phases. Like I talk about phases on the PolyInnovator channel as like phases of life and phases of niches and interest and expertise. Like what am I focusing on now? So like right now my phase is content creation. That's what I'm caring about. That's the channel I'm focusing most on. And so that's my phase right now for PolyInnovator. Even though I'm still doing Polymathy and travel content and even gaming content, those are off to the side for the creator channel to be focused. But phases for the blog was literally just a way for me to organize. Like here's phase 1, here's phase 2, here's phase 6, and basically one of them was like SEO bashing, like competition bashing. One of which was like wait for later because I can't deal with this right now. Then when you get to like the first through 3 phases, it was literally just a prioritization model of like here's the posts that I want to make, the most important ones like Obsidian and like just like random posts that were just so important to my old niches like self-education and the modular degree, how to make a modular degree, all these posts that I was supposed to make half a decade ago. I was like, let me go ahead and get those out in phase 1. And so now I was going through it today. I already have the entire phase 1, which is, let me see how many posts is in that phase. Phase 1 has, wrong folder, 39 files. I moved some out, and I also finished some. So it's only 39 right now, but it was closer to 70, I think, a month ago. And then phase 2 has 69 files. Phase 3 has 66 files. So I've gotten phase 1 kind of whittled down a little bit. But I entirely scheduled out phase 1. I think I scheduled out about half of phase 2, which once I finish phase 2, it's going to fill out the rest of the year. Because I only have like a handful of slots left now to fill up. So once I finish phase 2, and like this is just finishing scheduling, it's not even doing them yet. But with the content blitz, however, while I'm going to be making some of these posts ahead of time, most of the posts I'm going to be making ahead of time are the newsletters. So I'm going to try to make all dozen swimming posts in one go if I can. It really depends on how I write them and how big they're going to be. But I'm going to try to at least get a couple ahead of time so I can get the first quarter scheduled. The Polymathy ones are the only ones that I'm like kind of procrastinating on a little bit. I procrastinated on the last content blitz too. It's one of the only sprints that I failed last year. Whoever's watching, thanks for watching. So the content blitz was literally just multiple sprints in one for me to try to get the Polymath podcast done, the Polymath wiki newsletter done, the content creation, the poly tools, basically the 35 posts I wanted to make for those tool posts ahead of time. And then really trying to just push towards getting all those newsletters scheduled ahead of time. I had an outline for all 35 of those tool posts. I had about 30 or 40 Polymath posts that basically had an outline already done. All I had to do was watch a video and write about it afterwards. It almost felt like homework though at one point. I think that's not going to make for a good content. I don't know why the FPS is so low. That's weird. So that was my point though. I had all these stuff kind of prepped and ready to go, and I didn't even do the PolyTools post until late last year. So now they're all scheduled out, and then I'm going to finish scheduling out the rest of the year for that. And since those posts don't make videos, at least most of them won't be videos, I can just schedule them ahead of time and get them done. And then the Thursday posts, I'm probably going to be doing once a week just manually anyways, because I need to make the video, some of which I've actually already recorded the videos. I need to write the blog post portion of them. Because I recorded like half a dozen videos last month that I haven't posted yet. Actually, I think it's like a dozen videos. It's crazy. So I'm going to edit those videos, combine them with the blog post, and schedule those out. I'm going to do all the Polymathy stuff, and I'll probably be able to do those in like 2 sprints of 15 each, maybe 3 sprints of 10, something like that. I actually have 40 ideas, so probably more like 4 sprints of 10, ideally. I mean, more than likely it's going to be even broken up smaller than that, but as long as I get ahead, that's what matters. Like, I haven't done this Friday's Polymath newsletter, but that's essentially because it's not a planned one. It was more of like, here's an idea. What is a Polymath 2026? Because I've made those posts before. I need to make a newer version of it. So it's actually kind of more of a thought leadership thing rather than a newsletter thing. It's going to go to the newsletter, but it's separate in the premise of why I'm making it. I think once a year, you need to go ahead and do that. You need to create the posts that are relevant to your niche and just kind of remind people who the hell you are. I'm going to turn on my fan real quick. Give me a second. Now, that's a lot, and I've been yapping for a minute. So the plan is making a whole bunch of newsletter posts ahead of time, most of which are already either outlined or some of which are already done. And so that can give me a ton of content already planned out, let alone already done. And then the rest of the year, I'm already going to have planned out, and I can just do them daily. And if I mess up, I can generally just move it to the next day. I did that once already, and it kind of made me mad. It's only been a week, and I've done it. But technically speaking, I did it because I made a separate post already. I made actually an even more important post, because the post I moved was something to do with, actually it was the one I made today. It was about the newsletter and Polymath Wiki playlist newsletter. And that was to tell people, hey, it exists. No one knew that about the playlist. I wanted to make people know it exists. So some posts you make might be more like, hey, I'm here. Here's what I talk about. This exists. Go look at it. Some posts you make are more educational, like, hey, let me go ahead and see how things are going. And then some posts are more of just like vlogs. And so it is interesting to think about when you are making a plan like this, you got to account for failing and getting sick and getting tired and not wanting to do it. The other day, the reason why I moved something over, though, like I said, is because I actually made a post about my PIOS system, which is my life operating system, my second brain, or as I call it, the Omni brain. And that's how I made a lot of this content planning in the first place, because I had everything in the system ready to go. I just had to, not ready to go, almost ready to go. And so I managed to make a new formulated way of doing the yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily plans, and more importantly, the daily notes and the notes behind those different aspect layers, abstract time layers, and the yearly notes, what I was working on. And so today, yesterday, day before, I was trying to work on that yearly note, reviewing the last year, planning this year, and also redoing the template for those yearly notes, which is really important. Like, planning out your year is kind of important as a content creator. And so by having that direct experience of me remaking it and redoing it, it was front of mind. And so I finally decided, let me make a blog post explaining how to do all these different layers. And that's a post that's been kind of on the back burner for a long time and really important to that niche for that main channel. I need to make a video about it, actually, probably. So I made that post instead of the one I had planned. I think that's a good reason to move the other one down. And so, like tomorrow, both posts I have planned are literally the swimming and travel posts. However, neither one of them are ready, which kind of sucks. So I'm going to have to make 2 posts tomorrow. And so ideally, I'll probably make, I should have been editing an interview right now, but I'm making this live stream instead. I'll make the interview either later tonight or tomorrow. Maybe schedule it for Thursday or something like that. And then Thursday is the post that I had already recorded the video, but not the blog post yet. Yeah, so this is, and then Saturday and Sunday, the posts are already done. So it's kind of like I have a few posts where I need to work, a couple posts that are already done, a few posts I need to work. Then some days I have 1 post that's done, 1 post I need to work on. And that way I can get caught up to where I need to be, reposting all the stuff from Substack, also making, or like remaking them. And then on top of that, also making new posts on, like, in addition to it. So not only am I going to be making 365 posts at least, these are pillar posts, mind you, written, audio, and video, mostly written video. I'm going to also be able to transform every single one of these videos into clips for various different channels. All the blog posts get sent out as newsletters. Not all of them. The regular blog posts probably won't, but if they're related to knowledge management, I have a knowledge management newsletter as well. Essentially, all that is just signing up for whenever I come up with new posts. So for that niche, I mean, that is a lot. And I'm trying to think about more things to talk about because I want this live stream to go for longer, but I think I've only had a couple of viewers here and there. I was hoping more people would come up and say hi, but I guess not. All the more reason to do it more often, though, so people can expect it. Or I really need to have a day of the week where I just do it. This has already been a pretty productive year. I planned out most of the year so far, and I'm going to keep planning things out. I have done a crap ton of content, and it's only a 6-day into it. Like literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus recording an interview, and then I'm also going to be doing the interviews, like editing later. So it's like already like 1,000 pieces of content in a year is not even like a 1 weekend. That's crazy. And so I'm kind of excited about that. I'm excited too because this channel, the one you're watching this live stream on, it has gotten 326,000 views in the last year. Even this month, I think it was around like 56,000. Let me double check. I'm actually very curious. YouTube Studio, 56.3 thousand views. 141 watch time hours. That's not a lot, right? This is only a 300 sub channel, but it's a 300 sub channel. The fact I'm getting that many views on here is good. That means people are paying attention. They're learning. Hopefully they're getting like value from these videos in the channel. And so the more I make on here, the more likely I'm going to grow. The PolyInnovator channel, I'm not too worried about, despite the fact I'm kind of putting it on the back burner. I'm kind of just like tossing the scraps to it for the most part. But if I were to follow the plan that I have right now, the Polymath, the travel, and then 2 posts for knowledge management, 1 a week, splitting up the attention a little bit, I don't care so much about the niche growth. I care more about just consistency. I think that channel is also going to grow. It got 23,000 views in the last month. That's not bad. And actually, ironically, the clips from the Polymath Polycast are going out right now. That channel got 77,000 views in the last month. And the clips from the Poly Tools Creator Spotlight from this channel only got like 23,000 views, 24,000 views, which kind of sucks. But I think last month it was higher up too. So, but maybe at one point I think there was 60,000 views. So it's just crazy how they keep fluctuating like that. Those are clips channels. Clips channels are going to be like that. I just sometimes check for the sake of curiosity. The fact that all these channels, though, are getting 23, 24, 60, 56, 77,000 views. At one point, I think the gaming channel got like 100,000 views in 1 month. It was crazy to me. Just that these channels are doing, even the gaming channel, I think, has gotten like 23,000 views. And it hasn't had any content really go out on it. So the fact that these channels are doing so well, and I'm only working like with a hand tied behind my back, if I were to go full throttle, that's a whole nother beast right there. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm really excited about what could happen when I am going full throttle. So the content blitz last year, I considered a success. I think I only did 3 or 4 sprints out of 5 or 6, yet I managed to do some of the sprints that were most important, and I was able to get ahead. I started getting more consistent with the channels and making more content and getting more used to live streaming. I started making more interviews, and I met more creators to do more interviews. I started now being able to plan my content using Obsidian. Finally, the plugin came to be. It started existing. And so all these different things had to happen last year for this year for me to pull off a really great endeavor. I think that's it. I think that's all I want to share today. Thank you.